Hello, Broncos fans. The buzz is real, and it's electric right now in Broncos country. With the NFL draft right around the corner, the Denver Broncos are in the middle of some serious decision-making. And we've got a major storyline to break down that's got the whole fan base talking. The Los Angeles Chargers are already panicking, and that's how you know things are getting good in Denver. The conversation is heating up around who could be the Broncos' next big playmaker, and it all centers around one name, Travon Henderson. But before we dive into the nitty-gritty of what's happening behind the scenes, make sure you hit that like button, especially if you've been riding with the Broncos for over 20 years. It's always inspiring to see Broncos fans of every generation stepping up. And if you're really about that orange and blue life, drop a comment that says, "Go Broncos, my heart bleeds orange and blue." All right, let's get into it. The Broncos have used an eye-popping 9 out of their 30 allowed top 30 visits to scout running backs. That is not a coincidence. That's a mission. Sean Payton isn't playing games. He's building something, and it starts in the backfield. Of all those visits, one name stands out above the rest: Travon Henderson. His visit has fans buzzing because he may just be the missing piece that elevates this team from hopeful to full-on Super Bowl contender. Now, you might be wondering, is Travon Henderson too rich of a pick at number 20? It's a fair question, but if you ask anyone over in the Chargers camp, they're already bracing themselves. They know the danger. Chargers fan forums, what little there are already complaining that if Denver lands Henderson, it's lights out. They're still salty after losing Evan Engram to us. And now, they're dreading the possibility of Henderson coming to Broncos Park, formerly known as Dove Valley. Even Chargers insiders are saying their team should trade up to prevent this from happening. That's how much respect there is for Henderson's game. They know what kind of weapon he can be. And honestly, the same buzz is catching fire in Broncos circles. So the question isn't just, is Henderson a good pick? It's, can we afford to let someone else take him? But hold on, there's more to this story. The Broncos also have their eyes on Omarion Hampton and Ashton Jeanty. If the quarterback frenzy pushes Jeanty down the board, there's a chance Denver could trade up to snag him. If Jeanty is gone, Hampton might still be available at 20. And this is where the real debate begins. Who's the better fit, Hampton or Henderson? Early in the draft process, Omarion Hampton looked like the easy choice. He's a bruiser, 220 pounds of power running. But the gap between these two backs is not as wide as people thought. Henderson may be lighter at just over 200 pounds, but he's quicker, and his explosiveness in space is something else entirely. He's not just fast, he's dangerous. This is where Sean Payton's offensive genius really enters the equation. Payton doesn't want just one style of running back. His scheme is like a Swiss Army knife. He wants a bruiser, a speedster, a change of pace guy, and Henderson could be that explosive element that gives this team a whole new dimension. Think Alvin Kamara in New Orleans. Travon Henderson isn't Kamara, but the measurables are strikingly similar. Same height, similar weight, and Henderson might even be a tad quicker. What makes Henderson so special is his versatility. He doesn't need 25 carries to dominate a game. Give him 15 touches and let him go to work. That's the modern NFL. That's what Detroit has with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Payton sees the value in that type of backfield rotation, and Henderson fits the bill perfectly.
Let's talk stats for a moment. Henderson had only one drop pass all last season. Just one. That's a dream for any quarterback, and especially for someone like Bo Nix, who throws a very catchable ball. And he fumbled exactly 0 times all year. That's not luck. That's reliability. He produced big numbers in the Big Ten and in the college football playoff against the toughest defenses college football has to offer. Hampton, while productive, simply didn't face that level of competition in the ACC. Henderson's yards after contact per attempt, 4.43. Hampton's, 4.35. That might not seem like a huge difference, but considering Henderson's size, it's impressive. He's taking hits from elite defenders and still grinding out yards. That's the kind of toughness that wins games in December and January. And don't sleep on the scheme fit. Henderson prefers running through the C-gap, which lines up perfectly with Sean Payton's pulling system. That's the kind of alignment that can create immediate success. So here's the bottom line. The Broncos could go with the safer pick in Omarion Hampton, or they could swing for the fences with Travon Henderson. And if they do, don't be surprised if it ends up being one of the smartest moves of the draft. There's even talk that Chip Kelly and the Raiders won't let Henderson slide into the second round. So if we want him, it might have to be at 20, or we could risk losing him to a division rival. Imagine watching him torch us twice a year wearing silver and black. That's not a reality any of us want to live in. Sean Payton knows what he wants. If Travon Henderson is his guy, we need to trust that vision. His history with running backs speaks for itself. He's turned versatile athletes into stars before, and he might be ready to do it again. But that's just the beginning of this conversation. Let me know in the comments, do you think number 20 is too high to take Travon Henderson? Or would you be thrilled to see him in orange and blue next season? Assuming the Broncos make the bold move to select Travon Henderson at 20, or trade back and still land him, we need to talk about what this actually does to the roster. This isn't just a new name on the depth chart. This is a potential identity shift for Sean Payton's offense. Henderson would immediately slot in as one of the most dynamic backs we've had in years, bringing a skill set that's not currently matched on the roster. Jaleel McLaughlin is explosive and crafty, Eric Este brings the muscle, and Javonte Williams, well, we all love his grit, but his consistency and health are still question marks. Insert Travon Henderson into this mix, and you've got the potential for a true three-headed monster in the backfield. This is exactly the kind of diverse stable Sean Payton has built his offenses around in the past. Think back to his days in New Orleans. Mark Engram and Alvin Kamara weren't just backs, they were chess pieces. Henderson can be that kind of piece in Denver. He's not a volume back, and that's the beauty of it. He doesn't need 20-plus carries to flip the field or turn a check down into a house call. With Payton's offensive creativity, Henderson could become the mismatch nightmare every week. A linebacker can't keep up with him. A safety will have a hard time bringing him down one-on-one. And the moment you try to spy on him, someone like Courtland Sutton is going deep or Evan Engram is eating you alive across the middle. That brings us to another massive upgrade that makes the Henderson conversation even more exciting, Evan Engram. This tight end addition could quietly be the most important move of the offseason. If he truly lives up to being a top 5 fantasy option this year, like the early rankings suggest, that opens up an entirely new dimension for the Broncos offense. For years, we've lacked that consistent tight end threat. Sure, there was hope around Greg Dulcich, but injuries and inconsistency left that door open. Now, we've got a legitimate weapon to attack the seams and command attention in the red zone. This is critical when talking about a player like Henderson. His ability to get involved in the passing game, especially screens, wheel routes, and swing passes, is going to put defenses in conflict. If linebackers cheat up, Engram and Mims will roast them over the top. If they drop back, Henderson is already 5 yards deep before anyone makes contact. This is how you build a layered offense, and Sean Payton knows it better than anyone. And let's talk about the run game evolution itself. If you watched Henderson's film from the college football playoffs, you saw a back who thrives in chaos. He's not just fast, he's patient. He lets the blocks set up, reads his lanes, and hits the crease with a gear that makes defenders look flat-footed. And when you throw in his vision behind a pulling guard, like what Payton uses frequently with his offensive line schemes, you've got something truly dangerous. The Broncos have been searching for that home run threat in the backfield for years. Javonte is tough, but he's not outrunning DBs in the open field. Henderson gives you that gear. He gives you the chance to break off a 40-yarder every time he touches the ball. That kind of threat forces defenses to stay honest, which opens up everything else in the playbook. Let me know what you think in the comments. Should we go all in on Travon Henderson at pick 20? Or is there another back who better fits what Sean Payton is building? And if you made it this far, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the next video that just popped up on your screen. Broncos country, we're on the rise. Don't miss the ride.